Welcome back to RGR Football. This is Matt Derrick. I'm Ryan Tracy, and we're hanging out because things have finally started to change. What an idea, right? 2 acquisitions along the interior. Jarran Reed on defense, Austin Blythe on offense. This is coming around slowly but surely, right, to the third wave of free agency, kind of like we thought it would, right?
Yes, it's the second or the third wave. It's kind of hard because this year's free agency has been completely upside down. So, yeah, I don't know if we're getting into a third or we're just starting the second or, what's happening. But yeah, this was the point at which I expected the Chiefs to start looking for some bargains. And yeah, with the addition of Reed and Blythe, I think that fits in absolutely that category. I mean, potentially a starting center, and Reed, I think certainly a below market, contract for the caliber of player that he is. So yeah, this was exactly what the Chiefs were hoping for, being able to find. And I think it's a bit of a bonus that, one, they feel like they found a starting offensive lineman, and 2, they found a key rotational defensive piece on the line. Definitely 2 areas that they wanted to upgrade going into this offseason.
Rotational is key, and I'm glad that you said that out loud, because that's my question is what does this do to the interior defensive tackle depth chart? Because in my mind, Reed comes in and leapfrogs Derrick Nnadi only because of the pass rush aspect. Or do you think that they might platoon enough that Derrick still starts on first down, run type downs, although in this league you never know anymore, and then Reed subs in? What do you think the plan would be?
Yeah, really interesting, because as deep as the Chiefs were last year defensively along the defensive line, I still don't think that they played as deep as they wanted to, because I think you saw especially Frank Clark and Chris Jones probably playing more snaps than they really wanted to out of those guys. So yeah, I mean, I think you've got 4 guys really, at the defensive tackle spot that I feel like that you think could be starters for you. I mean, and at least get that caliber of reps. Now, so if you're talking about having enough, guys here who can all give you 30 plus snaps a week, and you're feeling pretty comfortable with that, yeah, I think that helps, and especially because, Jones and Reed both have a lot of flexibility, which means you can move them around. And I certainly expect that, the addition of Reed allows you to really play up and put Chris Jones into more marquee spots. I mean, I think that's probably going to be the biggest upgrade, because, frankly, Reed can do some of the things, especially I think in the run game and plugging up the middle, that you usually counted on Chris Jones to do. So, if you're able to have a guy like that on the inside, and you are able to, on occasion, move Chris Jones outside, it makes you unpredictable defensively, but I think it's just also, athletically, speed, strength, all of those things. I mean, I think it's an upgrade across the line.
Yeah, I think it helps as well. And nothing against Derrick Nnadi. He's definitely better against the run than the pass. That's not a slight. It is what it is. But now you can have all 3 of them on the line at the same time with Frank Clark, and I think that helps everybody out. My question to you is, Tershawn Wharton, we know where he is. We know that he kind of hit the wall in terms of development. He's got work to do to take that next step. I anticipate that he will. I feel pretty confident about that. But how do you see the rest of the depth at the tackle position, and particularly Colin Saunders, that seems to be still just a mystery at this point?
Yeah, and and that's one thing I've already been asked about with the addition of Reed is, what does this say about Colin Saunders? And honestly, I mean, the Chiefs sent a pretty strong message last year about where Colin Saunders was, that even once the elbow injury was behind him, he really had a hard time finding the field. And that was even with, some injuries along that defensive line that left some opportunities there. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a player that going into year 3, there's a lot of pressure on Colin Saunders. I mean, especially for the draft choice that he was, you want more production out of that. And, whatever the issue was last year, the Chiefs definitely want to see a big step forward. And, and then sometimes that happens. I mean, sometimes it's year 2, sometimes it's year 3 that players make that big leap. And this is the year for Saunders. I mean, he has to do that. But I think that everything with what the Chiefs handled Saunders last year, and frankly, the addition of Reed this year, yeah, I mean, I think it tells you that they're not putting a whole lot of eggs in the Colin Saunders basket. And if he is able to be a productive player and take that step forward, that's great. I mean, that just gives you another tool. But I think it tells you that they're not putting their strategy, they're not putting games at risk of betting on that.
Yeah, I was still hopeful because I felt like he was in a good trajectory until the elbow injury. Maybe he can return to that, and if so, he might probably be the best 5th defensive tackle in the league if that's the way that it works out, because I felt like he did have the upside still. We'll still see what happens with Brendan Daly. That's got to be kind of lucky rabbit's foot in his back pocket having that particular coach. We'll have more for you here. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell notification. Thanks for watching us today, and we'll catch you next time.